We're live on the YouTube. At least we think so. Well, hello everybody. This is a test live stream. So I've done a bunch of upgrading. Got a new computer. Got a microphone. Got a audio interface. I'm trying to enter the latest, at least the latest 20 years as far as technology. So I'd love your feedback. Not to get, I don't want heavy criticism like, it sounds like poop or something like that, but unless it's totally honest. John, I am using my my Headstrong Lil King. It's a great amp, and it's the one I probably use the most. Otherwise, I tend to use my Deluxe Reverb, but this one's really great. Because it's 12 watts with a 12-inch speaker, and it just sounds fat at a at low gain. Plexico, thank you so much for the super chat. You're the best. So, and I appreciate that because I just spent a crap ton of money on a bunch of stuff, microphones and all sorts of stuff. So I appreciate that. Chase says, do you like any Marshall amps? Yeah, I like Marshall amps. Especially some of the combos like from the 70s are really interesting. I can't remember the numbers on them, but a lot of those like 20 to 50 watt combos are really, really cool amps. So yeah. Hello from Montana. Dale from Patreon said hi earlier, and so hello Dale, and thank you for supporting me on Patreon. Plexco says sounds great. Any death metal? Sorry, I don't have any death metal on me. I've tried before. It never took. So Murray says audio levels are better than they've ever been on a live stream. Well, thank you. So yes, I've got a actual microphone and an audio interface. Because in the past for like 4 years I got away with just using my phone. And then finally we had some really, frankly, shitty live streams where people complained about audio levels and stuff, and it just got to be, I finally got to the point of like, okay, we've got to do something. So, so here we are. So, death metal, yes. All right, any G&L Tele styles in the collection? No, I don't. I would love to have an ASAT, especially like from the 80s or 90s. And I love ASATs. I just, I've got so many freaking Telecasters that, but yeah, they are different. If I had an ASAT, it'd have to be one of those with the big MDF or MFD. I never can remember which order the 3 letters are, but I love those guitars, and because of the Telecasters and Jorgensen and Leo, and they're just really cool guitars. Oh, they're I let it fly. What Tele would you recommend for an intermediate player? I really like the Road Warns. I particularly like the I think the Jason Isbell is the one to get if you want a rosewood board, or get the Brad Paisley if you want a maple, or just the regular. I think it's like the one that's like a Blackguard Road Worn. Those are my favorites, and I know those still aren't super cheap, but also, see what you can find used. Get on whether it's Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and see what's available, and just try out as much as you can. So, oh wow, we got talking about some Hagstrom guitars, and grab the Les Paul and play some Ozzy. Not gonna happen. And you're right, it is a sickness. I keep forgetting, Zach. What does ASAT stand for? They were obsessed with military names, and so that was the name of like an anti-satellite or some type of missile air defense type of missile. And so like Interceptor, all those names that were used by G&L were kind of military. They were military names for weapons. And so they, for some reason, they kind of got obsessed with that and used those names for a while. So at least in the 80s. Yeah, thank you, Mason at Midnight. Yeah. And thank you again. I don't think I'm going to make it to NAMM, Plexico. I don't know. Maybe in January I might make it to NAMM. I don't know. Maybe. What do you think of the Made in Japan Paisleys? I think they're cool. I think they're very cool. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, is it a good guitar or is it not? So, yeah. I love Jerry Donahue. Yeah, there's stuff passing by so fast on here. Is that decal? No, this is a clear pick guard. I mean, you can't tell. It's a thin, clear pick guard. And then this is a piece of paper underneath that my friends Jay and Christy Smith did the artwork on. And so they did my name and this cactus on here. So let's see. I may do a lesson thing on that the Tulips jam. So yes. Oh, Rod Martins, my cousin. So yes, he says it's 102 in Wichita. I'm sorry about that, Rod. And Rod is the one that took the footage where I played Tulips in Tulsa that was on the last episode. So let's see, we got a comment about I mean neck thickness and radius, that all play together, as does fret size and everything. So like I said, there will be more episodes coming out talking about not just nut width like this, like Tuesday's episode, but also talk about radius and of course thickness of the neck from from front to back, which is of course very important. Trying to replace a speaker in a deluxe reverb. I really like the ET65 from Warehouse or Vintage 30. Those are my favorites, but you gotta see what you like, because every speaker is so different and really brings out different things out of the amp. And so your amp may be your deluxe or whatever may be different than my deluxe. And so I've clipped the bright cap. Of course, today I'm using the Headstrong amp, but on mine the bright cap is clipped, and then I pull the V1 tube altogether, and then I put a 5751 in the V2 position, and that kind of changes it. Yeah, a lot of people thought that was a sticker, but it's artwork. It's again, it's a clear pick guard, and I got that idea from Jimmy Olander with Diamond Rio. He always had a clear pick guard with Mother Maybell underneath it, and Brad Paisley used to do the clear pick guard thing and put pictures underneath it. So Favorite hollow body guitar would be an ES330 because I like P90s and it's not too big. So let's see. We got a lot of comments are blazing by. So if you end up, having to, rephrase your question or something like that. Of course, I'm not trying to be, the PBS telethon or something like that, but, I just bought a bunch of new gear to make these live streams better. So, if you want to put some money in the tip jar or super thanks, it won't hurt my feelings. That's all I'm saying. Yes. Yeah. Lyle made a huge difference. Lyle is the one that recommended Lyle and Keith Williams, but Lyle was really patient with me and really helped me a lot. In fact, we talked on the phone today, and so he was giving me a lot of ideas. And so Lyle with Psionic Audio, a huge thanks out to him for helping me a lot and telling me what kind of computer to get and other things. I really, it's like, for as much as I might know about guitars, I don't know a whole lot about recording and technology. And I've certainly done recording and session work, but I've never actually had to do any of that stuff. Let's see. Do you happen to know the origins of the... Okay. Yes, so I'm going to have to... Okay. So we're talking about the road-worn Brad Paisley guitar. So the thing behind that was Brad wanted a light guitar, and so they used Paulownia, but then they felt like they needed another type of wood on top because Paulownia can be soft, and I'm not saying it, and they were just worried about it. And so they actually had a bunch of spruce left over from when Fender bought Tacoma, okay? And they had a bunch of spruce tops. And so what they did was they took those spruce tops and they put them on the front and back of those Paulownia Brad Paisley road-worn bodies. So all those, all those Brad Paisley road-worn guitars are Paulownia sandwich, it's in the middle of the sandwich, and the outsides are Tacoma spruce tops. So you heard it from me, and I heard it from Tim Shaw, and he doesn't lie to me. Do you like the Fender 51 no-caster pickups? Sure, I like them. But I mean, it all depends on the guitar it's going in. And it's like you can like a pickup in one guitar and you can put the exact same pickup in your next guitar and it's going to sound like poop and you're not going to like it. So you have to, it's just like amplifiers. Like I like the Alessandro speaker in this Headstrong that I'm playing through today. It sounds amazing, but I tried one in my deluxe reverb and I hated it. So, but other people put that same speaker in a deluxe and they'd love it. So, it all depends on what you like. I have not done any Tone Master downloads. I mean, I don't have one anymore. A friend of mine down in Texas has mine now, and I was just using the stock, one that had the Celestian speaker. So I do need to do a small, because I want to make sure this is not, going through the sorry about the quick step away. The AC went on high all of a sudden. I wanted to make sure that wasn't blowing and into the microphone and stuff like that. Michael Davis asks, does Brad really use a cigar to relic his guitars? And was he pulling our leg? He was not pulling your leg. So I'm going to pull out one of the guitars that he used a cigar on. So let's see, where is it? Okay. So this is the broadcaster that Brad built me. And if you look, this right here, I'm just making sure, this is cigar. So he used cigar there. And then another one is, there's some dark stuff in here that was done with cigar. So, because sometimes he gets it really close and actually kind of burns it some. And sometimes it's just about getting it close to the guitar and kind of holding it over the smoke and doing some things. But anyway, yes, he actually uses a cigar and aging stuff. So maybe we change guitars now. Let's hope this one is in tune. Will it plug in? We're gonna tune up. No caster. Very cool. John is commenting about the 51 no-caster pickups that he put in his American Pro, and he said Mike Tuck likes them, and Mike's a great player. So there you have it. Make sure we're in tune here for, because it's for the good people on the YouTube. You guys are worth tuning for. And let's see how the let's see. Was Brad smoking the cigar? Absolutely, he smoked the cigar. Favorite speaker in the Deluxe Reverb? So far, the ET65 from Warehouse, or I have an old Mesa Boogie version Vintage 30, which you can still get that speaker. But the problem is it only has 4 holes, and most Deluxes have 6 bolts coming off of them. So, favorite Fender Strat reissue? The Eric Johnson. I know it's not really a complete reissue, but the Eric Johnson is just a really great vintage style Strat with some improvements. The radius is a little too flat for me at 12, but it's just a really good guitar, and it's easy. It's, one of those you can go out there and get. I mean, frankly, I'd be happy with a road worn, like a road worn 50s Strat would be right up my alley, and just as is. Yeah, you're very welcome, Dave Van Epp. Oh, let's see. Little neck pickup. I just Alex Farron, he has a YouTube channel. He's a really great player, and he does lesson. He did a thing on Junior Bernard, and I started working on some of those licks, and there's like this, that kind of thing where you kind of. Anyway, that kind of thing that's fun. Yeah. How much do you roll the tone knob on your bridge pickup? Usually it's just a little bit. I mean, it also depends on the night and what's going on in the room. So, but I mean, sometimes I have it full up. But yeah, a lot of times I just roll the tone control back just a little bit. Hey, Brad. Hey, Brad on Red Volkart's Red page. He has old photos. There's a photo of him and a very young Brad Paisley. Are Red and Brad related at all? No, not at all. They just, they like, they're friends. Those pictures, I actually took those pictures in the studio. So I was there when that the sessions happened, and that was a lot of fun. I love Red and Brad. They're both really great friends and great people. So Margaret says, love my Ask Zach coffee mug. Well, thank you so much for this love and support. Back at you. What is the difference between the 1056 and the Soft V? Which do you prefer? Okay, so the 1056 is one of the fatter Soft V's, and so it was, the 1056 stands for October of 1956, and it's a certain neck shape that was around for about 3 months, and then they slimmed it down some. Then the Soft V got smaller. So the 1056 is kind of the biggest of the vintage V-necks without being crazy. And so this guitar, this is a January of 57 Esquire, real deal, real vintage, and it has the 1056 neck still. And then it's like right after this they started making it smaller, so it's about 0.9 at the first fret. It's not gigantic, but it's substantial. So, but yeah, that's what 1056 is, and usually and that's and so soft V can kind of be all over the place, but it should be a little bit smaller than that, like more like 0.88 or something like that. So, or even it can even be down to like 0.86. So, yes. So, everything seems to be going fine. Audio's good. The guitar and the voice, they're all good. It's just I'm just happy that things are not getting complaints about people saying, your guitar is too loud or whatever. And I'm not making fun of anyone there. I just I've just been upgrading stuff. So, there was my dog barking. So it's 2:00. So I don't know. It must be the UPS man delivering. I've got some mic cables coming from D'Addario. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Some comments are going by. I feel like the earliest Eric Clapton Strats were almost 1056. Yeah, they were. Oh, let's see. There's some comments going by here that I feel like I need to. So there have been issues with Spring, the company that has an agreement with YouTube and that does merch. And so if you've bought merch from me over the past like 3 or 4 months, it's possible that you've gotten a really awful delay on them. And that's happening with everyone. It's not just me. It's Keith Williams with 5-Watt World and everyone out there. They've been dealing with horrible things with Spring. And I don't know what is wrong with Spring, but they've done a terrible job. And I apologize for that. It's been, it's not been cool. So, if you need to cancel your order, you will not hurt my feelings, and I completely understand. If you're willing to wait, I appreciate that, but you do what you need to do. But I apologize for what has happened with Spring. So they have done a terrible job, frankly, and I'm trying to find another merch company to work with. Unfortunately, no one's doing a good job right now because everyone was getting stuff from China and then having it shipped over. And now, of course, there's tariffs and other things, and it's caused a lot of problems. But let's get out of that conversation and let's go back to having fun with guitars. Jam Up says, met Red several times. He's a great fun guy. He really is. Classic Series 50s. Oh, they're great guitars. I love the Classic Series. Keith Williams put a heart on every comment but mine. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Let's Ghost. Oh, I like that. I like your avatar and your name. That's cool. Keith's a good guy. We'll put a little tremolo on. Thank you for waiting, Victor, and I always read your comments and always appreciate it, because I know when you the mahalo, Thank you, Jason Perry. That's always a cool trick. I always love if I can pull a behind the nut bend ever. I will absolutely do it because it's especially fun when you're playing in A because you can kind of, and it's the dominant 7 in the key of A. And so you can hit that G string and you can kind of give it. Of course, I got that from James Burton and Ray Flack and I guess, Roy Buchanan. I do prefer maple just because of the feel of it and everything. But I'm actually having a rosewood board telly built currently. I've been working on it. Was just stripping a body down that had a black finish. That we're gonna do. It's gonna be a 3-color sunburst telly custom alder body, and then with a rosewood board neck. So I'm gonna have my first rosewood board telly, in the next couple of weeks. So get excited. Let's see. Just ordered 2 sets of Ernie Ball flat wound 9 to 42. That sounds cool. Would you do a video on Telecaster decals? Might as well. Yeah, because of course they changed through the years. Of course, this is not a real broadcaster, but it's got a pretty good repro broadcaster decal. Then of course, this is a real deal, Esquire with the original factory logo from 57. Of course, you get up to of course I've got a couple, I don't have a real transition logo telly. I've got a couple, 67, 68 tellies with the black CBS logo. What strings do you recommend for country picking on a telly? I like either 9.5 or 10s. So that just tends to work for me. Well, Tom's a good one to listen to. Tom's a great player, and there's nothing wrong with rosewood. It's just a preference thing. So, Tom plays a lot of Gibsons, and so I would, and he loves rosewood board tellies. In fact, the thing that he, a couple times, when I'd run into him, he'd say, if you find a 59 to 61 telly custom telly, I should say, tell me about it, because they're really rare guitars and they're hard to find. So rosewood board unsubbed blocked. I love it. See, and the world's oldest millennial. Yeah. See, it's getting good now. Now we need JD, since I'm wearing my JD Simo shirt, we need JD to hop in and start talking about Princess Leia flying through outer space or something like that. Yeah, I think round wound strings, so this is Blue Rhythm Boy's question. Yeah, I think round wound strings are easier to bend than flat wounds. Flat wounds tend to be higher tension. I don't know about Tomastic, so... Yeah, Chris Quint. Yeah, it's hard. I know decals are illegal and such, but yeah, it's hard to get the right decals and get ones that look good, because now there's so many cheap decals out there that are being sold that are just not good quality, and a lot of them fall apart when you try to get them wet and put them on the guitar. Classic albums for chicken picking. Emmylou Harris Luxury Liner. Get greatest hits of Merle Haggard, greatest hits Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn. Rob French says hello. We're getting some good comments here. I don't know how to kind of scared to. Oh yeah, now we're seeing more of the comments now. Yeah, humbuckers in a telly. It's okay. Maybe in the neck position. Yeah, or a thin line. 9.5 circle. Yes, I agree. Hello to Rob French. Best of both worlds or blasphemy. Okay, are we talking Star Trek now? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen you with a 70s style customer deluxe, Zach. I would be okay with having one of those. I need to borrow one and do like a video. How important is... you have to play in tune to do sessions. That was Gerhard. JD Simo is my newest guitar. Oh man, comments are really screaming by, as it were. So I'm trying to expand this as much as I can. Let's see. Bristol. Nice. Yeah. Andy Summers did play a Tele with a humbucker in the neck. Inspired by Shitstorm. All right. Is weight of Tele important to you? Yes, it is, because I still play gigs, and so I like things under 8 pounds. So I like 6.5 to 7.5 pounds is ideal, but anything under 8 is okay. Hello from Berlin. Hello, Joe. Don't forget to upvote. Oh, okay, yeah. So while you're thinking about it, give it the thumbs up. If you got a free finger or something. Yeah, you can use a strap when you're sitting down. Let's see. Ever put 300K pots in a Telecaster? I have not. I've had some pots that were rated a little higher than 250, but I usually don't like higher resistant pots because they tend to be brighter sounding. The AV58s are really cool, Keith. They're nice guitars. The finish on them's really cool. It has a good feeling neck. Yeah, they're fun. Jaguars. I just can't deal with the short scale. Yeah. The Andy Wood Sewer Tele, yeah. Language. Man, language is all over the place today. Again, for those that just came on, I have some, I bought a new laptop. I bought an audio interface, and I bought a microphone and other stuff. And so, and it was after a bunch of people complaining about live streams and audio levels and stuff like that. So, and again, I need to thank Lyle at Psionic Audio and Keith Williams with 5 Watt World for helping me out. And I'm not all the way there yet, but this has been helpful. So, let's see. Love JD, of course. Do you have lots of nice things being said? Diodario with flat tens. Now that sounds cool. The lacquer's cracked on his headstock. I wouldn't worry about the lacquer cracking on your headstock unless you think you're going to lose the decal or something like that. But I mean, cracking is cool. So, let's see. Hello from Columbus. Speaking of pots. Yeah, I like just good old, 250K pots. Pine body versus ash or another type of wood. I like ash the best. It's just harder and harder to get light ash, but you can still get it. Sometimes you have to pay a premium for it, but ash is just my favorite. Pine can be good if it's hard enough. Pine can be really soft. So Jaguars are not a toy, but they're just the scale length is just not long enough for me. You keep using cuss words, we're going to have to put you back on instrumental music only routine like you when you were a kid. That's probably right, Chris. I probably will. Sorry that you saw my knee there for a second. Yes, I'm wearing shorts because it's hot today. And, of course, this is an unplanned live stream where we're having fun. Hello from Poland. What is your favorite Travis picking song to play? Well, I only know one, and I only know part of it. Let's see. There you have it. That's as close to Chet or Travis picking as you're going to get from me. What do you think about relic guitars? I love them. This is a relic guitar. So I mean, and this one's great. Great investments. Do you have any recommendations for a 12-string electric? Yes, get a Dan Electro, from like the 90s or early 2000s. They're like $600, and some of the strings go through through our top loader, and the other half are through the back, and those are really great guitars. Buy one of those and just be happy. As Zach, wish I could afford them for a set of throwback. You don't need throwback pickups. You know, you can get go get some antiquities. Get 2 neck pickup antiquities, and you can be happy. Hey, from Portland, Tennessee, right down the road. Does swamp ash sound different than old? Well, I mean, there's different types of ash, and when they talk about swamp ash, they're talking about ash that's like southern ash that that absorbed a lot of water, and that's why it's light. So northern ash would be like what you would use for like baseball bats and stuff like that, and that's hard and weighs a lot more. Let's see. Keith Urban going to PRS. Oh, come. Well, yeah, he's a great player, nice guy. Can you play a bit of that too? Yes, I'll play a little bit of the Tulips riff. Let's see. So, in a nutshell here, I'll play it slow. Part of the key is getting that where you're bending this 4th fret on the A string against that D string, and it really kind of gives you part of the sound. And it's kind of a, you know, or footloose, you know, that kind of thing. So thank you for all the yes, this guitar does ring like a bell. I'm very happy with it. I try to play this one a lot. This is 6.5 pound. This is all this is all parts. It's not all parts. It's what's that company? Golly, why can't I remember the name of the company? They make like Blackguard type bodies and necks, and you know, of all sorts of, you know. Why do I have a hard time remembering these things at times? But anyway, they make good. Yeah. So this is just kind of these are parts that were put together, and you know, it's nothing special, but it ended up being a really special guitar. All-time favorite production pickups. I mean, Seymour Duncan. I really like the Antiquities. I like the La Brea, and I like their 53 tapped pickup. Vintage versus relic depends on the guitar. I mean, I've played relics that were amazing. I've played vintage that were amazing, and I've played both of them that were god awful, terrible. They're, you know, dead wood. Hey, from East Texas, nice. 96 Fender B-Bender anniversary model. That should be Alder. You know, should be. I currently own about 12 Telecasters. Have you ever dived into modern guitars? Nope. I mean, I'm in the 80s. I probably played some Jacksons and stuff like that. Kramers. Sealer, clear blonde, yellow to clear. Yeah. Yeah, we could do I ought to do a video about finishing and stuff like that too. Yes, Chris Quinn's Music Craft. So this is a Music Craft body and neck, and yeah, and 6.5 pounds total. And you know, I've seen a lot of Music Craft parts put together, and this one just happened to go together really well. But I mean, they're good craft. I mean, they're good parts in general. No, it's not Warmoth. Yeah, Keith did buy an old studio, and I can't remember the name of it. Fralins are great. You know, I think when the guy above said about, you know, pickups, he said production, and when I think production, I think about like a full-on factory, and I still think of like Fralin as more boutique-y, but I love Fralins. I love the blues specials, and even the regular vintage model Tele pickups are really great. Yeah, let's see. Okay, vintage. You said vintage versus relic earlier, and I said, yeah. I mean, you get good and bad from both. But I mean, I have both. I have both vintage and I have relics, and I like both of them if it's a good guitar. So, what are your honest thoughts on the V mod? I don't really know those pickups well. I'm sorry, Tomas. Have you ever played a Nash Thin Line? I'd like to, but I've never run into one. Favorite guitarist on the scene today? I'm gonna say JD Simo because I'm wearing the shirt and he's a good friend and yeah, and a nice guy. Buck Trent versus Telecaster. Well, I love Buck Trent and I loved his kind of bender banjo stuff and all that. So, but I'm gonna go with the Telecaster, but only because I play the Telecaster, but I mean, I love listening to Buck Trent play. Let's see. From Japanese flame finishes. Yes, I am. Are you talking about the fake flame, like the photo flame stuff that Fender did back in the 90s? So, Japanese Greco Telecasters are great. Oh, we got Keith Williams, who I need to give a big thanks for helping me out. I'm just trying to let him rub off on me with all of his brilliance and wealth and riches. You know, when you visit Keith Williams, he's always wearing, you know, it's like in the videos he's wearing like, you know, that blue shirt and stuff. But when he's not doing his videos, it's like furs and stuff. And he's got like a cat on his lap all the time and he's petting it and everything. It's, you know, it's just a different world that Keith Williams lives in, that 5-watt world. It's different. It's different. I love Greco Telecasters and Strats. Those are really great copy guitars. It was a great era. The late 70s, early 80s was really good for Japanese copy guitars. Let's see. Favorite country lick? Oh, that's easy. Yeah, it's the kind of modified Merle Haggard. But then you do the behind the nut bend just to give it a little extra English. Or here's one that let's see. Guitar mill bodies are great too. And I have guitars that have the you know, all the Danocasters and a bunch of other things I've had have guitar mill bodies, and those are fantastic. I like 7 1/4 radius better than 9 1/2, but I'll use either one of them. I don't like it when it gets flatter than that. I don't like 12, but I prefer 7.25, but with bigger frets. Have you tried Quilter amps? No, I've been asked this a lot. I've just never run into them. Telecaster Elites are interesting. I mean, they're a very different, you know, flavor of Tele, but they're really cool too. I believe JD can make any record better. I'd go along with that. And of course, now I get the comments, you know, the responses from Keith Williams, who doesn't want to acquiesce that he, you know, walks around with fur coats on and with his white cat. So, but it's okay. Yep, silk robes. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, Keith Williams, we love you. Oh, Keith Williams. Oh, 5-watt world. Yeah, everyone's got their t-shirt on and everything, you know, loving on Keith Williams. Meanwhile, there's the rest of us. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, yeah. I still need to do a Marty Stewart interview. Keith pets a cat like Dr. Yeah, he does. He does. Ripped off your intro piece. My go-to warm. Yeah, that's the reason I came up with that. Was it was kind of a warm-up piece to get my fingers kind of stretched out. Yes, and that's the whole point. It's to make me use my pinky more. I wanted an exercise that made me use my pinky. No compression. I do have a touch of compression from I have our Mirage compressor, and then of course I have no idea what YouTube does to audio. So, yeah. Let's see. Man, you're playing it smooth. Well, thank you, Tomas. What's your go-to delay pedal? Right now it's the El Capistan. It's just kind of easy to use, and with the favorite switch I can go back and forth between a short and a long. The other one I really like is I like the UA Del Verb. And then I still like the old Boss DD2. If you're just going to have one delay and, like a non-tap tempo delay. And then I still like the DM3 and I like the Echo Park. So those are my favorite delay pedals. I know you just wanted one probably. See, we're getting good comments now because I said the thing about Keith and the cat on his lap. Yeah, he's like Blofeld. Have you... Yes, I have played JD's Nocaster. I got it. I played it right after he got it. And it is a nice guitar. I've played a bunch of Nachos, and it's a really good one. Kenneth Williams, yes. What string tree location? Well, I don't care. I really, I don't mind it. I think that probably the better position is this one, is the one, next to the A string. I think this one, it's probably a little too far back, but this is just such a classic look. But I think this is the more appropriate one. So I love the intro riff as well. Play it every day. Nice. Let's see. Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, I did a little tapping, not too much. Can you play Paranoid? No. Let's see. Yes, jazz clubs and then summers in Barcelona. That's exactly what he does. What makes the Nacho Tellies expensive, or makes them worth it, is that they're really artwork, because it takes a really long time to relic guitars well and make them look right, and so that's what you're paying for, and just the quality of the experience and everything. We got Exact Tone. So to Barry and Greg and Eric, hugs and kisses. Tons of comments are just blazing by, so I apologize if I've missed your comment. Yes, a $300 Squire can sing. You just got to play a bunch of them and find a good one. So yes, I like Groove Master saddles. Let's see. Deep video on Jimmy Lee Fathery. He played a telly on it. Jimmy Lee Fathery. I haven't heard of him before. You're gonna have to tell me more about him. Have you ever played the J Mascis Jazz Master? Those are really nice. That's a really good kind of bang for your buck guitar. CS2, the CS2 is a great compressor. In fact, I still have one because it was my favorite compressor in the 80s and 90s. Love from Bavaria. Oh, from Bavaria. Oh, sorry for my bad. I was trying to be Bavarian. We like Bavaria. So hopefully that doesn't offend you and you stop watching because I did a bad accent imitation. Yay or nay on roller nuts? No. So that's a nay. Squire Tellies, great. Who did the relic job on the Telecaster you're playing? Brad Paisley did the relic job on this Telecaster. So he built this guitar. So he is a real broadcaster, and I borrowed it to do the episode on broadcasters. And I loved the blend control, and I was going to rewire one of my tellies that way. And he said, no, man, I'm just going to build you a broadcaster. And so this is what he built. And I think he did a good job. I think he did a real good job. I think it's got, it's got some nice, it's got the cigar thing on there that we've talked about. And, it's got this magical stuff, here on the inside. And yeah. It's got all the stuff. What does BP's he likes his action kind of medium low, not crazy low. Like I like my guitars probably lower than he does. He likes to make fun of my guitars if the action's too low. Yeah, it was fun to make an appearance on Rick Beato's interview with Brad. That was a lot of fun. Are type of frets important to you? Absolutely. I like 6105s or the kind that Dan Strain uses on his Danocasters. They're like 9.5 by 44. Those are really good frets. So I tend to use one or the other. Do the Nacho Telecasters retain their value? As far as I know, I think they do. Like the Danocasters. I mean, they hold their value extremely well. So, homemade relic telly. Yeah, I think, it takes a long time to make wear look real. Like, to do the wear on a fretboard or something like that, it takes a lot of time and effort. And so that's what you're paying for when you get a relic that's done well. And that's why the good relics are really expensive, because it takes more time to relic it than it does to put together the rest of the guitar. So, let's see. Look up Jimmy and Johnny playing Sweet Lovin' on My Mind live in the 50s. Jimmy Lee Fothery. Okay, well, I know what to look up. Douglas Axtell says, have you tried Hipshot Bridge for hardtail Strat? I have not. Have you played a J Mascis Telly? I thought that was cool too. Yeah, and it had kind of a V-ish, a little slight V to the neck. Bavarian chocolate, yes. Have you seen the new Vox hand-wired series? I haven't, but I'd love to see it. John Verheyen says, I have 61.0 frets in all my guitars. Good choice. I agree, John. Let's see. 1958 top loader. Oh, which compensated bridge saddles do you recommend? I like the Groove Masters from Music City Bridge. Those are really, really nice things. To tighten the truss rod, you turn clockwise. So, and you should only do about a quarter turn at a time. Does a guitar player's hairstyle have anything to do with the sound? Yes, it is a direct reflection of the sound. So the bigger the hair, the closer they are to heaven. That's all I have to say about that. I get some fret buzz. I tolerate slight fret buzz, but if it's too much, then I either put lighter strings and raise the action or do something. Yeah, he is an artist. What was the pivot point when you felt you could play guitar? I think I started playing in front of people when I was like 13 years old. And I was just kind of thrown into it, and it was just kind of like you was either sink or swim. So I just kind of started doing it. Let's see. Oh, this is a nut width question on the video I did on Tuesday. The crafted in Japan guitars tend to be 1 5/8, true, unless it's some other model, like a specialty model. But most of those are true 1 5/8 at the nut, like a vintage Telly. People are chiming in. Mark Larkin's talking about, yeah. There's, the classic early, Blackguard is a classic design. The flat pole pickup, the brass saddles, the position of the logo, and the string tree and everything. I mean, it's classic, for a reason. P80 in the neck or mini humbucker? I think I would go with a P90, but hopefully maybe it was one that was kind of on the quieter side. Yes, he just corrected himself under that. Yeah. Jimmy Lee Farhi was an early influence on James Burton. Okay, now you've totally piqued my interest. If it's an influence on James Burton, I'm going to be digging like crazy as soon as we end this monstrosity here. Again, I want to thank Lyle with Psionic Audio and Keith Williams. They are fabulous people who've helped me out. Of course, I'm using upgraded gear. Got an actual audio interface and a microphone, and we're actually doing pretty well. Oh, let's see. I love your G&L story about a PO'd Leo. Yeah, that's one of my most viewed episodes besides the deluxe reverb one, and people really liked that. And I had no idea. It was during there was a snowstorm here, and I borrowed that ASAT from Brad and just kind of did it on the fly. I talked to John Jorgensen, and he said, "You got to talk to this guy," and why am I forgetting his name? But anyway, he was the guitar player that pissed off Leo Fender and played in the Desert Rose Band after Jorgensen left. And he's a great player, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But anywho, threaded saddles. I don't tend to like them. I really don't. So I usually end up taking them off of guitars, like vintage ones. I don't like threaded saddles. Have you played active pickups? Yeah, I used to play EMGs in the early '90s, and then I had them in a Strat and a James Burton Telly, and I ended up taking them out just because part of it is I got tired of having a battery in the guitar, but they sound great. When do you use a Strat? I did some sessions this week, and I used the Strat quite a bit. I tend to use the Strat when I'm playing with another guitar player. If I'm the only guitar player, I tend to play a Telly. But I was doing some Christmas stuff, and so I played the Strat quite a bit, and and some of it was with chorus and doing volume swells and things like that. So I tend to use the Strat more for recording or playing with another guitar player. If I'm the only guitar player, I'm probably going to play a Telly. Let's see. Tomas is, wanting a recommendation for a pickup that's more P90ish. Harmonic Design made some Super 90 pickups that are really cool. You ought to check those out. And they fit in regular footprint. Do you have a guitar currently set up as a B bender? Yeah, I've got 4 of them, and I have a Strat with a bender too. Do I have to do I need to prove it? Yeah, let's see what's close by. Here's one close by. So that's my dog barking. So no charge for that. Yep. No charges for the dog barking. I know most people, they charge for that stuff, but I don't. Because I'm a nice guy. Now, if the dog barks much more, I'm just going to have to charge you guys. Y'all are going to have to start paying for this type of stuff. Because, this is a high quality dog that I have. It's a really expensive dog. So, or I'm going to have to close the door. So, do you ever lube your maple fretboard? Dog, you got to stop. You're okay. Yeah. Trying to have fun with the people here. I never lube the fingerboard. But I think that's a good question. And sorry, I'm a 13-year-old boy all of a sudden. Is there a story to the black pickguard on the shelf behind you? No, there is none. This is a Telecaster made blackguard. So in fact, it says Telecaster on the bottom, and it has the little the circle. And so Dan made this for this guitar. So because I wanted, the original pickguard was destroyed, and so I said, hey, I might want to try a black one on there. And so that is a pretty cool look. This is the Roy Nichols, or Jimmy Nichols, then, of course, if you do this, then you have to play, you can only play Roy Nichols licks on it. Oh, PV Classic 20 is a killer amp. Have you ever tried Sire's version of Telly? I have not. Could you review Fender Champ and Twin? Oh, those are cool. I've played those, and they're great guitars. I've played through the Eric Clapton Tweed Twin and the Champ. They're great amps, yeah. What's your thought on tube screamers? I like them, but I prefer them Austortion. And I use the Sawdust, Apollo approved, kind of version of it the most. Let's see. No, the B bender, you've got G benders and B benders and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Of course, of course, because my dog is still barking. It's just actually it's just a low level growl. If I do that too much, I'll get the dog going. Grinch guitars. I've never seen them. Are you talking about Gretsch? Or are we? No, I haven't played a Grinch guitar. So, no, my dog is a black Cocker Spaniel, and her name is Mabel, and she's the best dog on the planet. And I'll arm wrestle you if you if you think that yours is any better. So, let's see. Yes, you were talking about Gretsch. I like Gretsch guitars. But they're just really not a flavor that I'm into. So if I were to own a Gretsch guitar, I'd probably want to have like a single cutaway, like Chet type guitar with Filtertrons on it or something. But in a Bigsby. But I'm just not really, I'm really a Tele or maybe a Strat guy, and I really don't play the other stuff very much. Do you prefer? What do you prefer between Nocaster and Broadcaster pickups? Pro and cons of each. Well, I mean, frankly, Nocaster pickups are the same thing as Broadcaster pickups for a while. Then they kind of switch over, and you get the different wire and such. I mean, they both have a great flavor and a great sound. So I think it's nice to have both kinds. To have the Broadcaster type pickup and the Telecaster type pickups that have the different wire gauge on them and stuff. So I like both of them a lot. Do you know of any Lab Series sounding compressor pedals? No, there's nothing that sounds like a compressor in a Lab Series amp. It's just it's a really cool sounding compressor. I actually have a Pierce amplifier also that I played some shows with last weekend, and it's basically the same guy that did the lab amps, Dan Pierce. He did the Pierce amplifiers in the 80s into the early 90s. Oh, what do you think about the Boss BD2? I think it's a good kind of really more open sounding overdrive pedal that can be kind of have a fizzy top end in both the good and bad sense. So I don't really tend to use it that much. I love the Boss DD2. I mean, that's a great it's a great delay pedal. It's hard to beat. Fallen in love with Gretsch. Do you need a Cornell Dupree Tele? I have a Cornell Dupree Tele. I have a 67 Tele. I mean, which is what he used. Of course, it doesn't have the DeArmond pickup and such. But yes, I love Cornell Dupree. All right. Well, I'm about to sign off. My the old voice is getting tired, and also my kids. I'm old. I've got a 14 and 16-year-old kid, and they're going to be coming home from school, and they're going to be yelling and screaming, "Hey, Dad, give us some money. Where's the money, Dad? I need some money." All right. I'm just going to the whole Highland around here. Nice. All right. I better take off, but it was good to see all y'all. And yeah, well, part of it is I have to figure out how to stop this thing. I have no idea how to stop the live stream, because this is through an app. So anything can happen. Oh wait, here we go. Finish. See you guys. Bye bye.